Leading up to the subprime crisis, Canadian real estate seemed rather unfazed throughout. Mortgage lending rules were tightened temporarily and the central bank eased. The housing just continued upward. Comparing to the US, it seems that Canada is far more expensive in many ways, paving the way for a crisis of unavoidable fundamentals. You came here for the truth. Today we are going to look at a comparison between Canada and the US in some ways here, beginning with the Canada-US house prices. What you are seeing here is a chart which is not the nation as a whole, because of course there are differences, many differences. This is showing you various cities, and in the top three we have two of these cities being Canadian, Toronto and Vancouver. The prices have become astronomical. This has been, in fact, just in the past couple years, they have accelerated to a degree which has lacked all reason. The difference in the US was that during the subprime crisis and everything that followed afterwards, the US got some breathing room, a much needed breather. However, you could see right here, everything sort of takes a dip downward, okay? But there has been a rather acceleration ever since, okay? Everything is sort of on the way up here. But when you look at, let's say, Vancouver, for example, let's follow this line, the orange line here. Yes, there was a dip down, but it was very temporary and quite moderate, and it has continued upward ever since. The prices have gone beyond what people can afford. You have a lot of foreign money coming in, and you also have, more important than the foreign money, is an extremely leveraged scenario. And it is, in fact, worse in this regard, worse than the US. That tells you what we are headed for. And I have some charts to show you this. House prices to incomes. I mean, when you think about this, it's terrible in the US. But comparing it to Canada, it's not even close. It looks like a rosy picture in comparison. That's scary. While the central bank has warned, the IMF has warned, and pretty much every supranational entity seems to be warning about the crisis building in Canada, the mainstream media says no, absolutely not. The general consensus in Canada, when you talk to people from Toronto, people from Vancouver, they say there's no problem. And you talk to those in the real estate industry, there is no problem and prices will continue upward. This is not sustainable. I mean, look at this. Here they had a big run up in the US and that crashed down significantly. And while it has come up ever since, it's still down where it was many years ago. And that's a good thing, so that people can actually save. They can actually put money into something they believe is a good investment, not just speculation. That's a big problem. You don't want people speculating in the asset that you're purchasing. Ontario, mortgage payment as a percentage of income. Guess what? A lot of people are taking on a lot more debt. And what they're saying here, if you can't read the small font, prices break from the fundamentals. That was years ago. It's gone into ridiculous territory at this time. People in Canada are at the most amount of debt ever. They're in the most amount of debt in comparison to their income ever. This is not just a coincidence. Housing has caused a major problem. This is on their primary residence as well as the speculation in the real estate industry. Then let's compare it to this. This whole video was based on this one article. The new sticker shock, plunging cell phone bills. If you're in Canada, particularly in Toronto, you'll have to do a double take, because in the US, cellular service is rapidly plunging. In fact, this is funny to me, because in fact, in Canada, let's just say Toronto, where I live, where I can definitely say the facts. Cell phone prices have increased over the last few years. A technology which is not really advancing to when you think about it. I mean, they say it's getting faster, but the technology, I mean, it's a cell phone, you have a data plan, you can make calls, you can make text messages. But let's say in the last 2 years, the technology really hasn't gotten much better, yet the price has increased dramatically. I mean, let's put it this way. The average cell phone bill is, with a data plan, you're going to pay approximately, I would say, about $100 Canadian. That's absurd for an average plan. And you're getting, with $100 plan, I mean, it's only a few gigabytes of data. Now, let's not get into the nitty-gritty of it all, but let's just compare that. That was the US, comparing it to this article where it's saying the difference with Europe. Look at this here. I will translate the Danish cell phone bill in the image on the right. This person pays 22 Canadian per month. And what are they getting? They're getting 20 gigs of data in their cell phone. 20 gigs, you would pay something like $300 Canadian to get that same plan. Unlimited everything and this and that. We are being absolutely taken right now. We're being destroyed. How are people doing well? The taxation is so high in Canada. Housing prices are so high. Electricity prices increasing. Food bills going up. And then they have this. Well, let's just let me show you this political cartoon. 2 out of 3 like a minimum wage hike. I got a raise. My boss fired me to pay for their raise. That's what's happening in Canada right now. It's being rolled out. This happened in the US as well. Big mistake. Ontario to raise minimum wage to $15 per hour. Yes, that's right. Over the next few years, Ontario will be introducing this $15 an hour minimum wage. There's no way that this will not result in layoffs. It's just a simple matter of fact. Businesses are not just going to pay more money to people. They have corporate profits in mind. So yes, some people are going to get more money. Other people are going to get money from the government instead because they're unemployed. That's the way this works. I don't know what the intention is in Canada here, and I get it. You want to get voted in later on. This is a mess. The long term and medium term here is a big problem. Let's just sort of switch gears. GPs, this is in the UK, GPs are being offered bribed to ration drugs for elderly care home residents. A scheme in Oxfordshire is offering GPs practices cash back for money saved from drug budgets for the frail elderly. And it goes in basically trying to save money here. The government needs to save money at all costs, all the while providing less service. They offer you something worse and they charge you more for it. That's what big government does. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the care, or in this case, is rationed. It goes for the UK. It's the same thing in Canada as well. Then you look at this. DHS is starting to scan Americans' faces before they get on international flights. All of the surveillance that's happening is not to protect us. That's for sure. We know that. The surveillance is done domestically, and it is simply to take away your ability to be free. People will ultimately realize this, I think, in the long term. At this time, though, they don't. I mean, gladly, you pass through an airport, you see people going through the naked body scanner. They have their hands on their heads. They have their hands out like they're criminals, and they simply take the radiation at will. I've always rejected the radiation scanner. Of course, they make you stand beside the radiation scanner for a long period of time, and you get it anyway. But I'm not going to be a slave. Doesn't matter. I don't care. I'll get the pat down. They put their hands practically inside my body, but it's just the way it is. This goes for everywhere. People in Canada, people in the US, they simply take what they're given. If taxes were going up, they would double and triple. People would just take it. They don't seem to mind. Nobody's freaking out about the fact that fundamentally, there's no way out of this. Mathematically, there has been such an accumulation of debt, whether it's on a personal level, national, state, province, whatever. It doesn't seem to trigger anything in people. Maybe they complain about it here or there, but they go to their jobs and they do what they're told. It's a nation of sheep. What country am I talking about? Well, just name it. And then we have this. I just wanted to throw this in at the end here. Major source countries of new asylum claims. What do you notice about the top 3 countries? Syria, Afghanistan, Iraq. The intervention. There has been such an intervention in these 3 countries in particular. And I have just a very simple idea. If you want to stop seeing asylum claims in your country, whatever that country is, how about we stop intervening? We stop dropping bombs. We stop funding real terrorists to go in and destabilize these nations. And I assure you, these people will not run away. Of course, to a certain degree, but we can go back to levels, let's say, of 20 years ago or something. Let's stop bombing them. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? But of course, that's not going to happen. That is the purpose. They want these countries to be displaced. They want pain and suffering, and they want people to be really upset. Well, that's exactly what's occurring here. And I, for one, I'm just speaking what I believe to be the truth. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. And last but not least, if you found the video informative, I know you'll find my books, The Money GPS and my new release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. You can look through these books at Amazon. They have a look inside feature. Check out the first book if you're interested on the 4 asset classes and how to profit from them. So we're talking about real estate, precious metals, paper assets, and of course business too. I get into that. And then in the new book, I take on the familiar subjects, but I also get into becoming self-sufficient and how to reduce your monthly expenses. So look at that on Amazon. I want to also mention that I'm on Steemit. I just got on Reddit as well. I don't know if anybody's on Reddit. I'm not really too familiar with it, but I found a way that I can automatically post all of my videos to Reddit. So every single video automatically will be on Reddit as well. So if you're on there and you prefer that, it will have the YouTube video link and you can link to it there. You can get on that. Like I said, I'm not too familiar with Reddit, but somebody asked if I would do that, and I said, look, if I could find an automatic way to get the videos on there, then I will definitely do that. And I did find a way. Every single time a YouTube video gets posted, it will be on Reddit as well. So you can just search for The Money GPS. That's my name on there, and you'll see my videos. So take care.